There's a quiet moment at the beginning of Scripture when the world is still new, untouched by fear or violence, when nothing yet competes with the voice of God. In that moment, humanity appears, not with noise or spectacle, but with intention. We are formed from dust, animated by breath, and placed within a world already called good. Before there are cities, before laws, before nations or conflicts, there's a calling spoken over humanity. It is a calling that has often been misunderstood, sometimes misused, and frequently forgotten. It is the mandate to fill the earth, to subdue it, and to have dominion. What did those words mean when they were first spoken? Were they an invitation to rule by force, to extract without restraint, to place humanity above creation as its master? Or were they something more careful, more relational, more reflective of the God who spoke them? As we move slowly through the opening chapters of Genesis, reading attentively and prayerfully, we begin to see that this mandate is not about domination in the modern sense. It is about vocation. It is about responsibility. It is about reflecting God's own way of ruling within the world He loves. This is Bible Scope, your place to find light, find truth, and find purpose. If this journey speaks to your heart, like the video and subscribe to walk through Scripture with us. Genesis begins not with humanity, but with God. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. This simple sentence establishes the foundation for everything that follows. The world is not accidental. It is not the byproduct of conflict among rival gods, as many ancient cultures believed. It is the intentional work of one creator who speaks order into chaos. Light is separated from darkness. Waters are gathered. Land emerges. Life multiplies. At each stage, God sees what He has made and calls it good. This matters deeply for understanding humanity's role. Dominion is given within a world that already belongs to God. The earth is not humanity's possession. It is God's creation entrusted to human care. When Genesis later speaks of humanity ruling over the animals and the earth, it does so within this framework. God remains the true king. Humanity is invited to participate in His governance, not replace it. When humanity is created, the language slows. Let us make humankind in our image, according to our likeness. This is not said of the sun or the sea, of the birds or the trees. Only humanity is described this way. To be made in God's image is not first about intellect or power. In the ancient world, an image represented authority. Kings placed images of themselves in distant regions to signify their rule. Genesis uses this familiar idea but transforms it. Instead of a statue, God places living beings within creation to reflect His presence and character. Immediately after this declaration, the mandate is spoken. Humanity is told to be fruitful and multiply, to fill the earth and subdue it, and to have dominion over the living creatures. These words have weight, and they require careful reading. To subdue, in this context, does not mean to crush or exploit. The earth in Genesis 1 is not hostile. It is good, but it is also unfinished. It is full of potential. Humanity is invited to participate in bringing that potential to fullness. Genesis 2 gives us a more intimate picture. Humanity is formed from the dust of the ground, and God breathes life into Adam's nostrils. The connection between human and soil is intentional. The Hebrew word for human, Adam, is closely related to the word for ground, Adamah. Humanity is earthbound and earth-connected. Dominion, then, cannot mean separation from creation. It is rooted in kinship with the soil. God places the human in the garden to work it and keep it. These two verbs are revealing. To work means to serve or cultivate. To keep means to guard or protect. This is the heart of biblical dominion. Humanity is called to serve creation, not consume it, to protect it, not exhaust it. The garden is not a wilderness to be conquered. It is a sacred space to be tended. This understanding challenges many modern assumptions. Dominion has often been interpreted through the lens of power, ownership, and control. Yet, Genesis presents dominion as a form of priestly service. Humanity stands between God and creation, receiving life from God and extending care toward the earth. This role reflects God's own character. God rules not by violence, but by generosity. He creates space for life to flourish. The naming of the animals further clarifies this role. God brings the animals to the human to see what he will call them. Naming in the ancient world is an act of relationship, not domination. It requires attention, recognition, and understanding. The human does not invent the animal's nature. He discerns it. Dominion begins with knowing, not using. This harmony is disrupted in Genesis 3. When humanity chooses autonomy over trust, the relationship with God fractures, and with it, the relationship with creation. The ground is cursed, not because it is evil, but because humanity's role within it has been distorted. Work becomes toil. Dominion becomes struggle. The earth resists rather than cooperates. Yet even here, God does not revoke the mandate. Humanity is still sent out into the world, still called to cultivate and live. The original purpose is wounded, but not erased. This is important. God does not abandon his intention for humanity to be a blessing within creation. Instead, he begins a long process of restoration. As the biblical story unfolds, we see repeated reminders that the earth still belongs to God. The Psalms declare that the earth is the Lord's and everything in it. The land is described as resting under God's care. Israel's laws include commands to let the land rest, to protect animals, to avoid exploitation. These laws echo Genesis, reminding humanity that dominion has limits set by God's compassion. The prophets often speak of environmental consequences as signs of spiritual disorder. When injustice spreads, the land mourns. When violence fills the earth, creation suffers. This connection reinforces the Genesis vision. Humanity's moral life and ecological responsibility are inseparable. To image God faithfully is to reflect his care for all he has made, that in the New Testament. This vision is not discarded. It is deepened. Jesus speaks often of seeds, soil, birds, and fields. He calms storms and multiplies food. His authority over nature is gentle and restorative. When Paul writes about creation groaning, he describes it as waiting for the revealing of the children of God. Humanity's restoration is tied to creation's healing. This brings us back to the heart of dominion. It is not about hierarchy alone. It is about harmony. Humanity's role is to live in such a way that creation flourishes. This does not mean avoiding use of the earth's resources. It means using them wisely, gratefully, and justly. It means recognizing that our power carries responsibility. Reading Genesis verse by verse, we notice how intentional the language is. Humanity is blessed before being commanded. Identity precedes action. We are not given dominion to prove our worth. We are given dominion because we are already valued by God. This order matters for spiritual life. When we reverse it, dominion becomes self-serving. When we keep it, dominion becomes an expression of gratitude. What does this reveal about God? It reveals a God who shares his work. God could govern creation alone, yet he chooses partnership. He entrusts his world to human care, not because he is absent, but because he desires relationship. God's authority is not threatened by sharing. It is expressed through generosity. What does this reveal about humanity? It reveals that our purpose is relational, not exploitative. We are most fully human when we live in harmony with God, with one another, and with the earth. Dominion divorced from love becomes destruction. Dominion rooted in God's character becomes stewardship. For modern readers, this calling feels urgent. We live in a time when the earth bears visible scars. Genesis does not give technical solutions, but it offers a spiritual foundation. It reminds us that creation care is not a modern invention. It is an ancient calling. Caring for the earth is not separate from faith. It flows from it. Personally, this invites reflection. How do we exercise dominion in our own lives? In our work, Do we cultivate or consume? In our relationships, do we protect or control? In our choices, do we reflect God's patience and generosity? Genesis invites us to see everyday life as sacred ground, a place where our original vocation can still be lived out, imperfectly but faithfully. As we walk through these early chapters together, slowly and attentively, we are reminded that the story of humanity does not begin with failure. It begins with blessing. The dust from which we are formed is not a symbol of worthlessness. It is a reminder of connection. The breath that animates us is a gift. Dominion, rightly understood, is our response to that gift. The biblical story will continue through conflict, covenant, exile, and restoration. Yet the vision of Genesis remains in the background, calling humanity back to its true role. In the end, Scripture speaks of a renewed creation where harmony is restored. The beginning and the end are linked. Dominion, healed and purified, becomes once again what it was always meant to be. As we've walked through this passage, what truth stood out to you? How might it shape the way you live today? If this exploration helped you grow, like the video and subscribe. Your journey through the pages is just beginning.